Good morning. Morning. Good morning. We'll call our Board of Water Commissioners to order, please. And are there any announcements by our Water Board members?
Well, it's nice to be together again.
It's nice to be together again, I know. Oh, gosh, and in such a nice big room, too. Okay. Is there any public comment on items not on the agenda?
No, Madam President.
All right. What about public comments on items on the agenda?
There are two for item 5 that we'll get to.
Okay, for item 5, okay, all right. Any discussion on the consent calendar?
Move to approve consent.
Okay, motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, thank you very much. Miguel, was there anything that you wanted to say back on item D on that?
On consent, yes, that's an extension of the resolution the board approved back in December
Yeah.
that allows the board to continue with teleconference meetings, even under sort of a hybrid situation as well. So it's just an extension.
Okay, all right. Okay. Then we will move into our public hearing. And we're going to ask Miguel and Cindy to make our presentation.
Yes, Madam President. I will start it off and then with the first part of the presentation. And it's the same presentation or very similar to the one we did for the community meetings in February. So I'll first give a little bit of background on the water department and its structure and some of the accomplishments in the water department since the last time we looked at rates. So I'll start with the structure itself. Common misconception with the water department is that we're a district and not part of the city, but we're very much part of the city. But unique in that we're governed by a water board, a city water board that's appointed by the mayor and council. Mm-hmm. We also have several supporting functions to the utilities that are separate from the city. For example, finance, engineering, human resources. The city has our own supporting functions, and we have our own that support the utilities. And the water department essentially oversees 3 utilities: the water utility, clean water side, the sewer collection system, and the wastewater treatment system. I'll start with the water utility. The water utility actually serves about 80% of the city. The remaining 20% or so is served by East Valley Water District, so that's on the east end of the city. But we also serve some county pockets. The service area itself is approximately 58 square miles, and the system itself consists of over 44,000 services, over 750 miles of water lines, 51 active wells, 38 active reservoirs, and 23 pump stations. And we get 100% of our water from the Bunker Hill groundwater basin, which is the underlying groundwater basin. Unique thing about the city, too, just geographically where it's located, it's sort of on the foothills. So we actually have a variation in elevation on the lower end near the water reclamation plant where you see 1,000 feet above mean sea level, and on the northwest end where we get upwards of 2,300 feet above mean sea level. So that's why we have so many reservoirs and pump stations. We got to be able to move the water up and down throughout the city. The next utility is the sewer collection system. Similar to the water utility, it has a similar service area. It serves about 80% of the city. The remaining part of the city is served by East Valley Water District. The system itself consists of over 35,000 connections, less connections than the water utility, and that's really because when it comes to sewer, you typically only have one connection per property, but on the water side, you could have multiple: irrigation, domestic, fire. The system itself is almost 500 miles of piping and thousands of maintenance holes. Several small lift stations, about 12 of them, at different parts of the city at low spots, and those lift stations just literally lift the wastewater and get it to continue in conveyance over the wastewater treatment plant. And we have 3 large lift stations that are located near the wastewater plant, and those give it that final boost to get it through the wastewater treatment plant. The third utility is a wastewater treatment utility. The water department owns and operates 2 wastewater plants. The first is the water reclamation plant, or WRP. Here we take in wastewater from the city, county pockets, East Valley Water District, and the city of Loma Linda. We take in about 22 million gallons per day at the WRP. And actually, East Valley Water District will be treating their own wastewater later this year. At that point, we'll see about 16 million gallons per day coming into the WRP. From the WRP, it's not quite ready to be released out into the environment. We treat to secondary standards at the WRP, and from there we convey it over to the second wastewater treatment plant, which is the Rapid Infiltration and Extraction Facility, or RICS. So on the way to convey it to the RICS facility, which is located in the city of Colton and co-owned with the city of Colton, we pick up secondary effluent from the cities of Colton and Grand Terrace. Here we take in about 28 million gallons per day. When East Valley departs and starts treating their own wastewater, it'll be about 22 million gallons per day. And after we treat it at the RICS at tertiary standards, we actually discharge it into the Santa Ana River. Several accomplishments and some challenges since the last time we looked at water rates and sewer rates. The last time we looked at rates on the wastewater side was in 2015. On the water side was in 2016. Since then, we've done quite a bit. On the water utility side, we've replaced over 37,000 feet of pipelines, rehabilitated 22 groundwater wells, nearly half of our wells. We seismically retrofitted 4 steel reservoirs, totaling about 8.8 million gallons in storage. And on the sewer side, on sewer collection side, we have a new sewer system maintenance plan that dictates how we maintain the system. That includes cleaning the actual sewer lines out in the system. When we clean about 460 miles of sewer lines per year. Since the system was transferred over to the water department back in May of 2017, we've really built that up. We started in the beginning with a few hundred, but we got to the point where we're nearly taking care of the entire system when it comes to cleaning the sewer lines. On the wastewater side, we have a new master plan, and we're nearing completion of our digester gas beneficial use program, which revolves around the digester produced at the wastewater treatment plant as part of the treatment process. That's a $35 million plus program that's nearing completion. Some of the challenges on the water utility side, drought and water supply reliability is a huge challenge. And we've been working with our basin partners and on recycled water, and also by forming the Groundwater Council to ensure that we get every drop of state water project water that's allocated to the region, to this area, actually used in this area. So that's a huge feat that we came together with 11 basin stakeholders in the last 5 years. We also have a challenge on the wastewater side when East Valley departs, and that means about 6 million gallons per day no longer being treated by the water department. But along with those 6 million gallons of wastewater per day goes the revenue as well. So that's a challenge for the water department. Capital improvement, we've got across the 3 utilities, the sewer collection, wastewater treatment, and the water utility, we project about $30 million per day in capital improvements necessary to maintain these systems. And then, of course, the rising cost in labor, equipment, supplies, et cetera, especially in the last 18 months, just like it's hit most sectors, it's really hit us pretty hard, these rising costs have. So I'll now hand it over to Ms. Mauser, and she'll get into the results of the water study, or the rate study, and what's being proposed, adjustments being proposed to the rates.
Thanks, Miguel. So here we just want to take a look at how our costs break down for our 3 enterprises: water, sewer treatment, and sewer collection. As you can see, almost 50% of our costs are associated with treatment and operations and delivery of those 3 systems. We also have a fair amount allocated to capital improvement. So these are our this is our capital improvement plan that goes towards infrastructure and looking at water resources and things like that. And then there's a smaller percentage for administrative and support services, and then a smaller amount dedicated to our debt service, which our water and sewer treatment funds both have debt associated with them. So why are we looking at rates? Well, Miguel mentioned earlier the last time we did a rate study was back in 2015 and 2016. The last actual increase for sewer treatment and sewer collection was in July of 2017, and for water it was in July of 2018. So it's been about 4 years since we've actually raised rates. We are also looking at our customer classes and ensuring that each class pays its own way, which means there's equity among our different customer classes. So just looking at, for example, we want to make sure that our single-family residential customer class is not subsidizing our commercial customer class. And then again, as Miguel mentioned, we have rising operation and capital costs, just like you have seen higher costs in the grocery store, at the gas pump. We see that in our operations every day and what we pay for goods and services and what's attributable to our capital costs. And then lastly, we'd like to promote transparency by adopting a simplified rate and a rate structure that's easy to understand. So we're going to talk about our proposed water rates. And first off, by looking at what makes up the rate. So there is a fixed component that is the fixed monthly meter service charge. So this is the component of the water rate that is the same every month. It is designed to recover a portion of our fixed costs. So our fixed costs are costs that, regardless of how much water we deliver, those costs remain the same. So whether we deliver 1 gallon or 2 million gallons of water. And the monthly meter service charge is based off the size of the meter at each property. And so when you look at the different costs, the small meter is the smallest amount charged and the large meter is the largest amount charged. And 85% of the water department's customers have a 5/8 inch meter. The other component of the water rate is the commodity rate or the commodity charge. So this is a variable charge and it's based off of the amount of water used. And it's designed to recover costs that increase as more water is produced. We do have to design our utility system to ensure that we can deliver water to all of our customers, no matter how much water is consumed by them. And lastly, we've designed our rates with a tiered rate to promote fairness and equity. And this kind of goes back to the idea that the more water we're producing, the more it costs. So the more water a customer's using, the more they're paying. Oops. So this is our proposed monthly meter service charge. You can see here, if the rates are adopted, they would be implemented April 1st of this year. And there would be another increase July 1st of this year. And then after that, the increase would be annual until July 1st of 2025. You can see here the meter sizes, which we talked about, the smallest meter up to our largest meter, which is a 12-inch meter. And you can see right now what we're proposing is our meter charge would actually go down for our 5/8 or half-inch customers. And it would actually remain lower than our current rate until July of 2025. These are our proposed commodity charges. So this is that variable charge that's based off the amount of water used. We do measure that in HCF, which is 100 cubic feet, which is approximately 748 gallons per 100 cubic feet. We have changed the structure. So for single-family residential, we have created a tiered rate structure. So tier 1 is for usage from 0 to 13 HCF. Tier 2 is from 14 to 23 HCF. And tier 3 is anything greater than 23 HCF usage. Our other customer classes, multifamily residential, commercial, irrigation, institutional, and other, will have a uniform rate. So they will pay the same rate per HCF used.
Excuse me, Cindy.
Yes.
HCF.
HCF, yes.
Acronym, what's that for?
Oh, 100 cubic feet.
Thank you.
100 cubic feet.
And this would be implemented the same time frame as the fixed charge. Sorry, I'm over here. We also wanted to look at the bill impacts for water and show what it would look like for a single-family residential customer at varying usages. So we went from as low as 10 HCF per month all the way up to 40. And this is for a 5/8 inch meter. And this is also, like I said, looking at the different usages. If you'll notice the 18 HCF is highlighted, that's because that is the average use for our single-family residential customers. But you can see after the first increase in April, most people using from 10.0 actually to 18 HCF would see a decrease in their water bill. And then after the rate increase in July 1st, still from 0 to 15 HCF, you'd still see a decrease, and at 18, which is the average, you'd see an increase of $1.01. And you can see there the higher users at 30 and 40 HCF will see increases from both on both dates. We also wanted to look at how we compare with other agencies. So we looked at our neighbors and surrounding agencies and what they're charging for water for their single-family residential customers. Again, we used a 5/8 inch meter for the fixed meter portion and 18 HCF as the average. That is our average customer use. So you can see currently we're at about $49.13. After April 1st, the bill decreases down to $47.19, and then as of July 1st, it's up to $50.14, and we are still in the lower end of the spectrum here as compared to other agencies. The other thing to keep in mind with other agencies is they also have unique costs and circumstances associated with them delivering water, and so that is why you see so many different costs across multiple agencies for their water services. Oops. Next, we want to talk about the monthly private fire line charge. So this is the monthly meter service charge that we charge for fire suppression services. It is similar to the monthly meter service charge where it is based off the size of the meter. This is only applicable to our customers that have a dedicated private fire suppression system on their property. Most of our residential customers do not. It does apply to a small amount of our residential customers. And next we want to talk about our proposed drought surcharge rates. So these are rates that will be adopted if the board chooses to do that today. However, they automatically do not go into effect. So they do not get implemented as of April 1st. They are available as a tool for the department to use. So these rates are, like I mentioned, they are a surcharge. They would be applicable to the commodity rate. And we give an example here of the commodity rate as of April 1st. And it is just a cent. You can see different cents per commodity rate that would be added to it based off of drought mandates.
Question.
Yeah.
Did you say that chart or that increase is being considered today as part of this?
It's being, so it is considered, and it's considered part of what's adopted for our rates. However, implementation of it would require further action by the board and the department in the event that we, so this is all related to having statewide mandates for drought. That we would be mandated for reduction in water use and production from the state or from a local agency. And then you can see the different percentages there of what the mandates could be and the surcharges that would apply, but it's not automatic. So we would, in the event the state did have a reduction or did have a drought mandate, we would start analyzing, the department would analyze what's going on and then determine if we actually need to implement the surcharge. So it's just a tool that we have at our disposal to be able to in the event of that. And this, let's look at this. Let's go the right way. This next slide. So you can kind of see this is a kind of a, gives you a timeline and an idea of how it would work and then what it would look like.
So just to be clear, if a resolution was passed today with that information in it, all it does is establish that matrix and that process. But any imposition of a drought mandate policy or new rate would have to come back to the
Yes,
board for
absolutely.
consideration, and the public would have an opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Can you tell us the last time that was enacted?
This is a new rate that we've developed. This is in place of our current conservation charge and what we're currently doing with the conservation charge.
I understand that if it happens, we have to make up our losses. Mm-hmm. Poor people in the public have to pay for it. Have we ever done it before? Have we ever enacted this?
Yes, we actually currently are operating under what we call Stage 2A. And under Stage 2A, we use 2013 as a comparison year, and budgets are developed depending on the amount of water that was used back in 2013. And if exceeded, there is a surcharge, and that's currently in place because of the really pretty much the ongoing drought. And that was established back in the last emergency back in 14-15. So what this would do is just be a tool. While we have something currently in place, that would go away. And then if the board were to decide later, then we would implement a surcharge, potentially. And that would look something like what you're seeing there.
So I understand how it works. It hasn't been used. We haven't enacted it since back in 13 and 14.
This is what's being proposed is different than what's currently in place. And what's currently in place is currently in use.
In use now.
Yes.
That I didn't understand.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so like I was saying, this kind of just gives an idea of if a state or local agency mandates drought restrictions, then we would look at, we would just do an analysis internally in the department to determine whether or not we even need to utilize this drought surcharge. So we would come up with what we think internally. If it was determined that yes, in fact, we'd like to do that, then we would bring it back to the board later to adopt it. And what we want to show here is that when you're looking at the bill, so you're looking at the 8502 there, and that is a combination of the water bill and the sewer bill. That's just with regular rates implemented as of April 1st. So it does include the sewer charges as well as water charges at the 18 HCF with a 5/8 inch meter. And then if we do adopt the drought surcharge rate and a customer does not reduce their water usage by 10%, and we're not mandating that customers have to reduce their water by 10%, but with a drought in place and if they're asking us to reduce water use by 10%, that's what we would hope for. So if a customer doesn't reduce water usage with a drought surcharge, you can see a combined bill is at $88.38. And again, this is at 18 HCF. However, if a customer chooses to reduce water use by the 10%, so it would reduce your bill by 2 HCF, you would be down to 16 HCF. With a drought surcharge rate in place, you can see the bill is $84.26, which is actually lower than what a regular bill is without any drought surcharges. So again, it's just a tool for us to help revenue recovery and help with compliance with any mandated drought surcharge or any mandated drought rate. Any questions?
Well, just to be clear,
Yes.
it all starts with the state.
Yes, absolutely.
So the
Yeah,
mandate comes down from Sacramento
Yes.
to all the agencies,
Yeah.
us being one of them. And then each agency acts independent
Yes.
and deliberates and looks at their resources and tools in order to try to make whatever adjustments might be necessary.
Absolutely. And then, like I said, we may look at things and may determine
Yep.
we don't need to do it.
Yep.
It's just a tool for us to have the availability in the event that the state mandates
Okay.
or the local agency mandates drought restrictions.
All right, thanks.
Okay, let's talk about sewer rates. So sewer rates, same time frame, be April 1st of this year, and then it would go through July 1st of 2025. And this is the proposed monthly service charge for sewer. So sewer has a fixed component, the same as water does. You will notice here, we have combined the sewer treatment and sewer collection charge into one charge. So when you're looking at all of the charges, all of the fixed charges, it combines both sewer treatment and sewer collection. We have the residential customers are the only pay a fixed charge, so they do not pay a variable charge, an HCF charge, which we'll see a little bit later. And then, like I said, same implementation time, April 1st of this year through July 1st of 2025. This is our monthly service charge for Loma Linda. So we do have Loma Linda as a customer that we do treatment only for. So when we're looking at Loma Linda's fixed charges, it is lower than the ones for the inside the city because it's only sewer treatment. There is no sewer collection associated with Loma Linda. And they follow the same rate structure as the city.
This doesn't include capacity fee, right? That's
No.
a total different.
No, totally separate.
That's a development impact fee that, okay, thanks.
Yeah, yeah, this is just sewer. And then this is the commodity rate. So sewer also has a commodity charge that is associated with their water use. So it is billed based off their water use. Residential, multifamily 2 and 3 units do not pay a commodity charge. It is just our non-residential, multifamily 4+ units and mobile home parks. So we have also recategorized our non-residential customers. We used to have a multiple categories, and now we're trying to put them into a low strength, a medium strength, and a high strength, and they all get charged the same variable rate based off the strength, the category that they fall in. And then you can also see our domestic liquid waste rate and our industrial rates here as well. And then the same for Loma Linda. They follow the same structure we do. And again, their variable charge is lower because there is not a sewer collection component to it.
Hey, I'd just like to remind the public that if you would like to make any comments, to fill out your card. I think most of you had done that and turn it into our staff in the back of the room. So, okay. So with that, I'd like to ask our city's legal counsel to present the rules of today's hearing.
Good morning, and thank you very much. The requirements of Article 13D, Section 6 of the California Constitution, commonly known as Proposition 218, are being followed. Notice of the time, date, and place of this hearing was mailed to affected property owners and customers in the manner provided by statute more than 45 days ago. The purpose of the public hearing is for the City Water Board to hear and consider all protests and comments concerning the proposed adjustments to water and sewer rates. Members of the public are not required to provide oral testimony in order to submit a written protest. Those who wish to file a protest may simply submit a written protest to staff members prior to the conclusion of the public hearing. The law specifies that all protests must be submitted in writing to be counted. Oral protests will be heard but cannot be counted toward a majority protest. Written protests must specify which rate or charge is being protested and must include the protester's name, parcel number, and/or service address and signature. The hearing will be conducted in the following manner. The Water Board will consider all public testimony. All valid written protests will be tallied. If written protests represent a majority of the parcels upon which the rates are to be imposed, the Water Board may not impose the rates and charges. If written protests do not represent a majority of the parcels upon which the rates and charges are to be imposed, the Water Board may vote to adopt the proposed rates and charges. That concludes my summary of the hearing rules. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Madam Chair, I have a couple
Yes.
more questions, if I could,
Yeah.
before we take testimony or read.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah, From the presentation and from what we've been told, East Valley is part of this, not part of this rate increase, but part of the issue is that how many residents are being transferred from the city system over to East Valley, approximately, for the sewer treatment portion of this?
This is an approximate, but
Yeah, yeah.
approximately would be about 30 to 40,000.
So people, 30 to 40,000 households that we currently serve are being transferred to a new facility that's just under construction, soon to be opened up in the city of Highland. That's correct, right?
That's correct.
And then Loma Linda, we also provide service to the city of Loma Linda. So do we have an estimate of what that number looks like for Loma Linda? Just ballparkish? And don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, it would be the pretty much entire population of Loma Linda, which I'm not exactly sure what that is.
Okay, well, yeah.
I do know we take about, I want to say 2 to 3 million gallons per day of sewer, of wastewater.
So does Loma Linda need to, their residents, do they also have to go through a rate hearing as well?
Yes, they're conducting the same process as well.
Okay.
And around the same time, I believe their meeting is actually later today.
Okay, so, yeah, so
Yeah.
they'll be meeting with their city council will be meeting, they'll be open to public hearing and going
Correct.
through the same process.
Yes.
And then East Valley, I'm sure, is going to have to go through some sort of a process when they absorb these 50,000 households from the city?
Yeah, and I believe they have, and I think it's now all just sort of pending actual operation of their plant, which is coming soon.
And
Go ahead, Amy.
Our first speaker will be Jane Rubel.
Okay. Whoops, let's make sure that's on. Okay,
I'm used to going to the San Bernardino County Board meetings.
okay.
Anyway, good morning.
Good morning.
And I tried to get, well, I have a written comment too. But I wanted to add, I have a few questions here about how does the proposed monthly meter service charge, is that replacing the minimum, I've got my bill here, the minimum monthly charge? Is that, is this replacing that? Because I notice it's $23.39 on my bill, the minimum monthly charge. So is that the same thing as the meter charge? I'm hoping. Anyway, and I have another issue with, what about the warehouses? I live in Muscoy, and they've been going like, I'm totally against them. I mean, but I was wondering, when I was reading the meter sizes, it doesn't say anything about, are they for commercial or what, or from some other commercial irrigation. And on the proposed water commodity charges, it also says consumer class is commercial, and does that mean warehouses? So I have issues with that because I think they should pay more, actually. Well, I wish they wouldn't even build them in some areas. Like along Cajon Boulevard, they're just, because it's not replenishing the groundwater, and it's right next to Cajon Wash. I mean, that's the love of my life is Cajon Lytle Creek Wash. And I get concerned about the warehouses that are just going up like crazy along Cajon Boulevard in the city of San Bernardino. And, they're using a lot of water, and it's not going, it's all cement, and it's really a problem because that's another issue besides air quality and everything, is they're not replenishing the groundwater. So I tried to get, I'm not cynical, but I went to all my neighbors, because usually people throw away stuff, like the flyers, but I went to a couple of my neighbors, and my one neighbor next door, I think Johnny paid attention to it, but my other neighbor, I went to him yesterday and said, I'm going to the meeting in person, just all you have to do is fill out your name if you want to, protest about it. But I went over there yesterday and he said, well, I'm not going to buy into it because it's only $3. And I said, well, okay, whatever. But it's really hard to get people. I noticed there weren't too many people here at the meeting. So I'm kind of skeptical. So I wrote in my comments that, it's really a shame. You'll probably approve it like the Board of Supervisors approve everything without, thank you very much.
And and I'd like to thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
The next speaker will be Susan Longville.
Hello. When I received my notice, I put it on my calendar to come down and speak to you in support. I'm a 36-year resident of the city of San Bernardino, but I'm a bit of a water nerd. I've worked in the water policy arena for more than a quarter century, was a former council member of the Regional Water Quality Control Board, and today serve at Valley District. I haven't read the whole cost of service analysis, but the firm you hired, Raftellus, is one of the best. I applaud the notice that you sent out to the public. I found it, easy to understand, but that's from my perspective. I understand these things. So I wanted to offer a few comments to the public because I support the water rate increases. The truth is that, the city's operational and capital costs would be insufficient in the future if you didn't do this. You needed to do this, and you've done it in a responsible and transparent and intelligent way. I was pleased that in the cost of service analysis that you were able to minimize the increases in the monthly meter service charges and commodity use charges, particularly because this is such a severely disadvantaged community. You simply cannot decouple equity issues and water and climate change and all the things we face, and you're doing this in a responsible way. Of course, the biggest rate increases are in wastewater, and that's understandable too, particularly as you move towards utilizing, recharging some of your wastewater with your tertiary treatment program. And I was delighted to see two of the commissioners out at the Weaver Basin dedication ceremony last week. The only one comment I would make is I think it's a step in the right direction to have a drought surplus, but in the long run, I think two things need to happen, and these are outside, one's not outside your power, one is. One is that I do think I would love to see someday the city of San Bernardino go towards full budget-based rates. You've got kind of a hybrid system now. I think there are advantages for you to go in that direction, and I would encourage you to keep an open mind to it. And while it has always been a very controversial issue statewide, how we deal with rate assistance for low-income people, once again, up in Sacramento, proposals are being flooded. And someday, we need state money to assist retail agencies with this. It's necessary. 4 years ago, the signs were everywhere, no water tax. Maybe we can find a way that we can get to yes, but that would be a good thing. And lastly, I just want to thank you all. I know you all. I know you care, and I know you work hard, and I think you've made such incredibly good decisions the last 4 years. It's been delightful. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Our next speaker is Victoria Godoy. David Lim.
Hi, good morning. Morning, sir. Can I get the 5 minute? Requesting for that. 3 minutes is no good enough for that. It's it's last year. I coming from the LA County. Okay, this San Bernardino is something special. It's the water taken from the Northern California there. It's not the Nevada. So I'm asking to the customer service there. So I mean the water is it's higher than LA County. I'm not seeing about that neighborhood city there. Okay, LA County is different than San Bernardino City. I don't know if it's going to be half price of the water charge, charging there. That's why I'm asking to the customer service there. They said we are taking from the Northern California, so far away there. Okay, so another thing is, I'm living alone in this San Bernardino city. It's years ago. So water meter is $57 for the only me. So they are basically charging there. So I mean, I'm not. The thing about it is, you guys is a discussion about, the water, it's from the state, order, that I don't know about it. I'm regular guy, okay? So, I actually know this time for the increase the water. Because COVID-19, and then it's the job is I'm transportation job, okay. So sometimes I got a job, sometimes I'm not got a job, okay. So actually I'm asking to the customer service, I cannot pay for that amount. Honestly, I'm telling you that. So also the seawater treatment, seawater collection is the charging from the bill, and then also property tax they are charging too. So that's why I'm thinking about it. So I'm asking customer service, they don't even know that. Okay? So I just want to ask him to, that, okay, you can charge for the seawater collection, seawater treatment, but not the property tax. It's San Bernardino County, they charging me too. Okay, so the water cannot be increased this time. Not this time, okay? I'm telling you, okay? I don't have a job right now, okay? But I live here. San Bernardino is over a year and a half. Okay, so that's all I'm telling you, okay? This please take it. It's the water from the Nevada. It's very close to you there, okay? LA County, take it to the Nevada. You are Northern California. I don't know which Northern California there. It's so far away, and then it's so much charging. Please.
Thank you.
I try to explain to you, okay? Can I get another 2 more minutes?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Oh, no, I cannot get it?
Yeah, your time is gone.
Your time is
All
up.
right, okay.
All right.
I will
Thank you.
be second time, okay? I'm going to sit
Okay.
over there. Thank you,
All
okay?
right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Uh-huh.
Our next speaker is James Clayton.
Hi there. Thank you for your time. I'm very impressed. I'm always impressed when I meet these water folks. I'm a big fan of Joe Zoba out in Yucaipa and East Valley Water District. I would encourage anybody that has any reservations about what these folks are doing is to take a tour of one of their plants and see what they're doing. It's very, very impressive. As I say when I leave voicemail for people, grab a pen because I'm going to give you an email address here or a website address in just a second. When I was in college in the 60s, one of my next door neighbors was probably the most famous biology teacher that's ever lived, Garrett Hardin. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him, but he spoke to the National Association of Biology Teachers, and he said that his transcript of his talk is on a website that is dedicated to publishing everything that he ever wrote. And the website address is GarrettHardinSociety.org. I believe it's .org. And Garrett is with two T's, G-A-R-R, 2 R's and 2 T's. And that particular paper was, to the National Association of Biology Teachers, was on the next dragon that we have to slay. And that was the concept of that you can maintain perpetual growth. And I wish I could give you the specific address, but if you just go to that website, there's a little Google box on there, and if you put perpetual growth in there, you'll find that paper. And I think that every time I come down here, I live up in the mountains, and we have a private water company with breathtakingly stupid people in charge of it. Our infrastructure has deteriorated to just nothing, and the board's keeping it a secret from the people that depend on the water and that pay for it. And it's made me look at infrastructure a lot more seriously. We're way behind, all of us, down here and up there, as far as getting stuff replaced. And until every time I come down here, I'm cussing the potholes in the streets in San Bernardino to get here. And I'm constantly backseat driving from my wife telling her to dodge this one and dodge that one. And it's just a case that we haven't done the planning. And I know it's hard to keep planning people working. They get disgusted and they leave, and you get new people that don't have any experience. I took a few planning classes when I was in college, and I can see why they get disgusted. But democracy is not always the best way to make decisions. We do that about driving, for example. If you think the traffic's too fast on a street, they take a traffic survey. They find out how fast everybody's driving, and everybody's voting with their accelerator and their brake about how fast they're going. We can't do that. We need to look farther ahead. We need to look a lot farther ahead than they've looked here, as far as I'm concerned. And I would really encourage you folks to read Garrett Hardin's paper, because I think it addresses everything, including water, that we can't keep pushing the improvements out into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Pardon me?
That concludes all of the public comment.
Okay. Okay, well, Mr. General Manager, we have no other protests, and do you have a tabulation that you could share with us?
Yes, Madam President. The majority of the identified parcels affected by the proposed water and wastewater rates equates to approximately 24,000. We've received 9 written protests, a total of 9 written protests. A majority against the proposed water rates does not exist, and the Water Board may consider the adoption of the proposed amendments.
Okay, very good. Okay, I would consider a motion by our Water Board to approve the proposed adjustments to the Water Department and sewer source. Any discussion, team?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion's been made.
I'll make the second with a comment.
All right, comment?
Yeah, I just want to basically state that I appreciate, the people that took the time to either write or come down and provide testimony. And, for the public at large who may hear about this in some fashion, we're all residents of the city, and we all understand what it's like to pay your monthly bills and deal with the results of what we've been dealing with the past couple of years and how people have been impacted. And the fact, as Ms. Longville pointed out, that this is a disadvantaged community. Not just San Bernardino, but the area in general has many families that have to deal with making decisions every day on how they spend their dollars. But as the one gentleman just pointed out, and as our general manager indicated, when we took over the city's sewer system a couple of years ago, we had no idea what type of system and what condition that infrastructure was in. And we've seen, over the past several months and years, we've heard about other infrastructure issues across the country, Michigan for one with their water issue, and there's many, many others. We've seen the Oroville Dam bust loose a couple years ago and flood water all over the northern part of the country or the state, and the cost of deferred maintenance of that nature, and then the cost of repair. Our city of San Bernardino is a couple hundred years old. We have old infrastructure. Potholes are probably the most popular discussion because they're visible, but what's underneath the ground is probably even more dramatic when you really take the time to analyze it, which we did. And on top of all that, not to try to be too wordy, but the conservation aspect of what we're talking about with regard to water is very critical as well. The Clean Water Factory that the department is pursuing, along with the East Valley Sterling Center, the new Weaver Basin recharge area, the habitat conservation plan that all the agencies in the valley have been working on. These are all looking towards the future. And in order to plant those seeds, you got to pay for the fertilizer, you got to pay for the tools and everything that we need so that as growth continues, or just to maintain what we have, we have the resources in place, and we're also being stewards, good stewards, of dealing with reducing liability. We've had a couple of breaches due to old infrastructure, which has cost us a lot of money, potential litigation, and things like insurance coverage as well, because we are a public agency and we have to protect the public. So making these decisions is often not popular, but the responsible thing to do is to not expose any of us or all of us to things that are going to be much more dramatic. And working with our partners with Valley District and East Valley and some of the other folks, I think is the responsible thing to do. So that's why I'm voting in favor of this resolution. So thank you.
Okay, is there any other comment? All right, so motion has been made and seconded?
Yes.
Can we take a vote? Yes.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Approved.
Good, okay, all right. Thank you all, thank you very much. And the participation of our community today, we thank you. And, you know, we can't say enough about our team that has risen above all expectations and has delivered such a quality product. So we really appreciate all your hard work. Thank you very much. Okay, well, let's go on then. We'll finish our board meeting with 2 reports. Anything, Jennifer, anything from you today?
Today, Madam President.
Okay. What about you two that are sitting back there smiling at me? Kevin and Steve, anything?
Nothing for me, Madam.
Okay, Steve? Wow, this is just a monumental situation. Wow. Okay, and Cindy?
Just briefly, I would like to thank the board for their support during this process. It means a lot, and it's made it a really nice process. And also Miguel and staff, just for everybody being so supportive. It's been a good process, so I appreciate
Well,
it.
you've done a tremendous amount of work. I know that, and
Thank you.
You know, I don't think the commissioners were with us when you gave that report to NANA neighborhood group, but it was really so comprehensive. Wow, and it shows the huge amount of work that you folks have put into this. Just amazing. So thank you. Okay, Robin, anything? No. Okay, Miguel.
Just real quick, Madam President, like Cindy, I'd like to thank the board for their support, and Cindy for all the great work on this. It's more than a year to get to this point, and working with Raftelis and the consultant was great, and of course BB&K and their support throughout this as well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, and legal counsel, Mr. Otzke, is there anything in addition?
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Huh? Really? Oh, my gosh. Well, this is wonderful. Okay, well, then we're at the point of adjourning our meeting. So we are officially adjourned. Thank you very much for all you've done, and thank you from our community. And we appreciate, and we'll be glad to talk with you here in just 1 minute. Yeah, hold on. Okay. I think, would you want to go chat with him a little bit? Okay, all right. That'll be good. I'll just stick it on Miguel. Okay.
We're adjourned? We adjourned?
That's it. We're adjourned. We're adjourned.